Thank you. Thank you very much, Member for Luanda. Honorable members, I now propose a question. That aware that the world is rapidly embracing artificial intelligence, which is the use of digital computer or computer-controlled robots to perform tasks commonly associated with intelligent beings. Acknowledging that in 2022, Government Artificial Intelligence Readiness Index report ranked Kenya 5th in Africa and 90th globally in readiness to adopt artificial intelligence. Further acknowledging that Oxford Insights Survey 2022 pegged Kenya's readiness to adopt AI at 40.3%, appreciating that AI has brought forth positive benefits that have increased efficiency in different sectors such as healthcare, manufacturing, and robotics, concerned that exponential rate at which artificial intelligence is being embraced in the society without proper regulation mechanisms has caused various negative consequences, such as rising cases of disinformation and fake news, noting that there is need to protect Kenyans from the potential AI-instigated harm, such as privacy breaches, AI-powered fake technology algorithms, algorithmic discrimination, autonomous weapons, job displacement and economic inequality, social manipulation and misinformation, financial market manipulation, and privacy invasion. Now, therefore, this House urges the government, through the Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy to, 1, formulate a regulation framework and ethical guidelines for implementation of artificial intelligence in the country to control its potential misuse, and 2, develop and execute a public awareness program of artificial intelligence to raise understanding of AI, foster transparency, and promote responsible use of AI for the benefit of all. Honorable Gideon Ochanda. The Honorable Karemba, do you have a point of order? Anything out of order, Honorable Karemba?
Not a point of order.
You wanted to contribute?
Yes.
In that case, let me give the first opportunity to the Honorable Gideon Ochanda. Are you interested in this one, or it was the earlier one? Okay,
yes.
You may proceed.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the world is moving very, very, very fast. And in the study of what we call political science, the animals that move so slowly is the governments. Governments are very slow. They can't move at the speed at which the world is going. And the world is going that route because of it's being driven by individuals and minds that are towards making things easy or easier to be done, easier to be delivered, easier to be understood, and effortlessly making things work. Madam Speaker, if one were to look at this country in the last 20 years only, you looked at how we have moved from the issue of even the telephone alone, when we had these fixed cubes of telephone. In the last 20 years, if you were to do an international call, you had to book, you come to Ex-Telecom here in Nairobi, for you to be booked for a number of weeks before you are connected to US. And these things are not long ago. They are very recent. And we've seen them come and pass. And now, one of the greatest problems that states are to have is the issue of insecurity related to where technology is taking us to. The police, the intelligence, the governments, wherever they are at risk because individuals are ahead of them. Citizens are ahead of them. And that's why there's this outcry, because you are trying to adjust, you are trying to adapt with a speed that you are not able to cope. That's why one day you hear about a person running a completely different parallel press. The government is not aware, the main press is not aware, and the following day it brings issues. So we are slow. Governments are slow. Governments, when it comes to what we call the inertia, they take too long to turn. And by the time they turn, they'll find when individuals are far, far much ahead of them. And that's where we are with technology. So, Madam Speaker, what I'm trying to say is that if our governments are not able, in fact, some of this needs to be clear-cut departments with smart people. Some of these guys that we are chasing outside there needs to be in government. These guys who are running away with the computers and are able to do certain things that are beyond us, that are surprising us, needs to be collected. They need to be somewhere where they need to be working for this government. Otherwise, when we leave them outside there, unregulated, because you can't say something is illegal if it is not in law. Yeah? If it is not in law, it is not illegal. So even if when one commits it, whether it is bad or wrong, there's nowhere you will take them to. And that's exactly where we are in this nation as at now. That we have individuals ahead of this government in terms of IQ, in terms of where they are in terms of technology, they are ahead. And the best that the government is supposed to do is to collect this guy somewhere. And I think that's what many governments are doing. Collect all these smart brains, have them somewhere, because you know if you leave them, they're going to be ahead of you, and it's going to be a disaster. Number two, Madam Speaker, we are talking about unemployment. The issue of AI is the issue that is to deal with labor problems.
Labor. So what is going to happen? I want to give a small example that I've been to a school, a big high school, where there are 8 streams of classes. And this school, compared to other schools, including mine, a school in my constituency that's employing 98 teachers, this school is only employing 18 teachers. And they are working in a manner that one teacher in a small corner of a computer room is able to handle 8 streams or 8 classes at a go. So look at that. If we went that route, what happens to these many teachers that we are training? That's where the contradiction comes in. What happens to these thousands of people that we are training? This government has done very well, particularly in terms of recruitment of teachers. We are above 70,000 people teachers that have been recruited. Those that have not been recruited are still in their thousands. Those that are in colleges are in their thousands. Universities alone are churning not less than 100,000 people or students each year. Funny, Madam Speaker, you know, when I finished the university, my first degree, we were only 2,019 people in the whole country. And this is not long ago. Now we are churning out over 100,000 in 1 year. Where are they going to? So while we look at that in terms of the amount of labor that we are likely to churn out for work, compare that with where we are moving towards the issue of AI, and many are not still looking at this, we are likely to be in crazy situations. That's where there's this thing that I was talking, that Ketan talked about, the issue of awareness. What is it that we need to put forward as governments, as people? Are we able to prepare our people that, no, let them look out? They are likely going to be out of jobs. There will be no jobs for them. Why? Because of AI. AI, why? Because we can't avoid it, is where the world is going to. So we'll be remaining with the bulk of our guys, the bulk of our labor, stranded here. And when they're stranded, that's again another problem. So the balancing. You know, our people resisted tea picking machines. I don't know how many are able to remember that. All of a sudden, those machines are picked up. And they are working. So what has happened to the people who are doing it, who are picking tea? They are no longer complaining, but it is beneficial to those that invest in the sector. You must reduce the cost. The cost of labor is one of those costs in production that is so high, particularly in most of the countries, and even including ours. The people who also go to work don't go with the attitude that they are working for purposes of making sure that everybody benefits. They go to work in the name of getting money. They don't care what they are doing. It's just a matter of the end month is there, they earn, and they go. So by the end of the day, if a potential employer or any other employer anywhere else realizes that they have alternatives to that labor, they'll definitely pick it. So as a country, as a people, we must be very, very careful moving forward. AI is a must, and if we don't do it, if we don't regulate it, it's going to run ahead of us. It's going to run ahead of the government. People are going to do it, and already they are experimenting. Some countries are delivering, I think, blood and all that with the robots in the country. So what happens if Lamu has robots, Busia has robots, and all of them are in the air, running helter-skelter everywhere else without any regulation, without any kind of commands? So I want to believe, Madam Speaker, this is apt. The motion is apt, and the government must look at it. Even when they look at it in terms of how motions are implementable or not, it gives the government a warning that there's something that must be done. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Muchangi. Please trace him and give him the mic.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, Karemba is also my name. Should always be very comfortable. Yeah, it is my name. It's my official. It's an official name.
The Honorable Eric.
Yeah.
Eric Muchangi, member for.
Thank you very much. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to rise to support this motion by the Honorable Member for Aldai. And I would say it is a very timely motion, given that the world is moving very fast, matters technology. And there isn't a better time to introduce this conversation in this country than now. AI, Madam Speaker, has great potential and can impact very positively on very many areas. But still, Honorable Speaker, it has great potential for damages. And Honorable Speaker, when it comes to distorting information, AI has enormous potential in doing so. And it should be in our interest to regulate this space, the artificial intelligence space, so that we ensure that information is not distorted, because this country in the past and even in the most recent past has been a victim of distortion of information, which has potential to bring about conflict. So I imagine that this government, our government rather, must move fast and regulate the artificial intelligence space, owing to the fact that artificial intelligence nowadays is even being used in the space of healthcare. It's also being used in the space of manufacturing. It is also being used in the space of education. So how can we, in a world that is moving very fast, be reluctant in regulating this space? So before all Kenyans embrace artificial intelligence, because I believe many Kenyans have already embraced artificial intelligence. So before all countries embrace it, we need to be among the very first countries in Africa to regulate this space, so that we can provide information is not distorted, because this country in the past and even in the most recent past has been a victim of distortion of information, which has potential to bring about conflict. So I imagine that this government, our government rather, must move fast and regulate the artificial intelligence space, owing to the fact that artificial intelligence nowadays is even being used in the space of healthcare. It's also being used in the space of manufacturing. It is also being used in the space of education. So how can we, in a world that is moving very fast, be reluctant in regulating this space? So before all Kenyans embrace artificial intelligence, because I believe many Kenyans have already embraced artificial intelligence. So before all countries embrace it, we need to be among the very first countries in Africa to regulate this space, so that we can provide a platform and a space that is regulated for the generations to come. So, Honorable Speaker, I support this motion. Thank you.
The Honorable Stephen Mogaka, member for West Mogirango.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity for me to contribute to this overdue motion. And I want to thank the Honorable Marian Kitani for this focus, forethought, and for waking up the country to the reality of life now and going forward. Madam Speaker, we all know that technology is the driver of them with very basic ICT support material. I am urging this country, and this House in particular, to incorporate AI training and AI training infrastructure in all our technical training institutes so that we tool our learners with the latest toolkit in the technological world. Because I'm aware that with AI, the practice of all professions, call it medicine, call it law, call it architecture, has been completely revolutionized. I do remember, Madam Speaker, courtesy of the COVID-19, as a practicing lawyer, we didn't know where we would have gone if our judicial system had not automated, so that we were able to practice law from our houses, practice law from our home, present witnesses from where they are, rather than having to transport them to courts and expose them to COVID-19. And I'm happy that we did those basic steps out of total necessity. Now, we are where it is either you embrace AI or you are edged out of whatever market or business that you are in. It is my humble prayer that in the budgets going forward, we must start with a policy framework of how to embrace AI and maximize its utility so that we release a lot of man hours of people traveling on the roads to workplaces, of sitting in the offices waiting for a colleague to bring a key to open so that you access your working material, so that we can release as much labor or man hours as possible to alternative economic employment. In other words, Madam Speaker, I am saying what machine can do, let not man bother to struggle to do, because machines are efficient, impossible to interfere with, incorruptible, and therefore this is the direction this country should go. Looking at the budget we have in the education sector, for instance, Madam Speaker, where we are told that even with that budget, other children in this country are still learning under trees. We need so much infrastructure, investment in physical infrastructure, that is mortar, and I think going forward, and this is the direction, we do not need to have our children in boarding schools. We do not have to have our children in schools. Children can learn from home so that we can improve parenting and be able to reduce the rate of inclination into criminal conduct of our young persons because of lack of parental care and guidance wherever they are. And I want to plead that our ICT ministry wakes up and draws a policy framework that this House should debate, discuss, approve, and then inculcate, create a very deliberate learning program for all sectors, both private and public sector, so that as a country, we embrace technology, we embrace AI, we exploit the advantages of that AI and be able to be an industrial giant in a very short while. And as we do that, we urge the engineers in this sector to be very candid with the country on the dangers
associated with the use of that technology so that we build up firewalls, we build up regulatory mechanisms to ensure that what is so good when used badly does not become extremely destructive. And with that, Madam Speaker, I support and thank the people of West Mogrango all the time for making me their Member of Parliament. And I think, Madam Speaker, I invite you there to confirm that I attend Parliament every other day and make contributions whenever asked to do so. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Actually, when you are speaking, I noticed that you seem to be very happy today. So, and you are also bringing the same happiness to the House, and thank you for your invitation. The Honorable Geoffrey Mulanya, member for Nambale.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving the opportunity to speak on this motion. Madam Speaker, as has been said by my colleagues, it is very important that we get a proper regulatory framework to control the use of artificial intelligence in this country. We know that the society is moving very fast. And Madam Speaker, you know that every time we have new children born in society, their minds are racing ahead of even the parents. And this is because of the information technology that's being availed. When you buy a new phone, there are new technology that is being advanced daily. But now the government is not moving at the same pace in this particular space. You note that, Madam Speaker, currently as you speak, the AI is the one being used by most doctors right now in prescribing medicine, which is dangerous. AI is being used in education for teachers who are preparing learning lessons to teach in schools. AI is being even used in the legal fraternity. The other day, I had a complaint from a judge indicating that young advocates are now using AI to prepare submissions to forward in court, whereby they are quoting non-existing laws, non-existing judicial precedents that we rely on in legal, in our courts, so that this can easily mislead a court to arrive at a wrong decision. Because in a legal, in our legal circles, we normally rely heavily on the previous decided case so that we have a sequence. We don't want to have contradictions. But when someone is now coming in, we're using artificial intelligence to prepare submissions, quote non-existing cases, you find out that the judge that is presiding over the case is easily going to be misled. We also have the AI being used by architects drawing houses, which is now becoming very dangerous. Madam Speaker, you note, as it has been said, the lack of regulatory framework is one that has led into all these things happening in our society. It's therefore very important that we formulate regulatory framework and ethical guidelines for implementation of the artificial intelligence in the country to control the potential misuse. We have had cases of fake news appearing in our social media because we have young intelligence people coming up with the newspaper headlines with screaming news that are fake. But all this information is distorting society that is a potential risk to a conflict. So, Madam Speaker, I support the motion and say that it is extremely timely. Support Honorable Marianne Keitany and thank her for bringing up this particular motion. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Member for Nambale. The Honorable Dr. John Mutunga, Member for Tigania West and Chair Agriculture.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to also add my voice to the Honorable Marianne Keitany's motion on the need for regulatory framework in the use of artificial intelligence. Honorable Speaker, in the stage at which we are technologically, Kenya will have no choice other than embrace artificial intelligence. As we speak, Honorable Speaker, we've already embraced anyway in certain sectors, and the process is ongoing. So what is important, and what the Honourable Member is speaking so loudly about, is having a regulatory framework that will basically guide on how to use artificial intelligence in the advent of losses of job, potential losses of job, and the need for further and more intensive and more complicated industrialization, as well as the growth stage that we are in. Honorable Speaker, we witness in movies and sometimes in the newscasts, most of the time, we see how artificial intelligence has played a role in especially collecting intelligence from various places, and also for even mapping, geomapping of an area, where we use drones, even determining where to spray in agricultural, pest and disease control. Artificial intelligence has become very, very, very important. In modern warfare, drones have been used quite a lot. And I believe one of the advancements that we need today is that artificial intelligence which can enable us to identify the powers of the enemy, the placement and the distribution of the enemy, their warfare and the investments in various areas. We have also seen that in the service sector, artificial intelligence has become very, very important. And therefore, it is key that we embrace artificial intelligence as a country. Honorable Speaker, last 2 months, I think it was in April, I happened to participate in a convention on coffee marketing in Houston, in America. And we were amazed by the level at which certain countries have reached in terms of service of the coffee itself, where a robot takes an order from a human being, prepares the coffee, serves the coffee in specific amounts, and basically ensures that payment is done and makes sure that the combinations are correct. So there is need for us to focus on how do we then embrace artificial intelligence, even as the knowledge permeates across the board. So it's a must that the country must embrace, but embraces in a systematic manner and in a manner that we are able to contain the user. Our Speaker, regulation is important. We need to discern which areas should we actually allow or control, what measures of control should we take when it comes to use of artificial intelligence. It is important for us to also focus on the areas that probably are dangerous to human beings so that we may promote artificial intelligence, especially when it comes to manufacturing. We know for sure that most of the manufacturing sector has embraced artificial intelligence, especially in other countries. And in this country also, we have investments in this particular area. So as we look at how do we invest in this area, what levels of control should we exercise, and how do we manage this? We need a policy. And this policy direction will help us as a country to manage this particular process. Kenya is noted as one of the countries in Africa that has advanced in this. In terms of ICT, Honorable Speaker, we are an advanced country. We are doing a lot. And investment in ICT is a purposed decision of the current government. There is a whole ministry that is looking at the possibilities within the digital divide, how we can exploit the opportunities therein, even to employ our children. Honorable Speaker, when we are looking at these possibilities, let us discern which section, which part of the investment structure should we use artificial intelligence. And Honorable Speaker, we are talking about digitization every year. Every time, every sector is getting through digitization. Even as we look at digitization, we may also know that it is not possible for us to control the learners. Research has to go on in various areas of ICT. We have to have our learners trying out options and possibilities. We know in the process of trying out options and possibilities, innovations in this country have been born, and they are born fruits, and they have really created a lot of employment, especially the M-Pesa, for instance, innovation. There are very many other innovations that have come by. There may be innovations that will also replace the possible job losses. So we need to allow research to continue, but in containment, to the extent that we need to be able to know which area is being focused on and what are the possible findings that we are looking at. Honorable Speaker, there's a lot of disinformation, especially in this country, and this disinformation is a lot more propagated through the media and through the social media. Social media has embraced sufficient use of ICT. And that being the case, how can we also use artificial intelligence to enhance verification of the information that goes out? Honorable Speaker, as we move on, and even as we look at the court process where the burden of proof must be, must go on through to whatever extent, we are looking at a future where there are possibilities that people will say, using drones, we are able to collect this information. But we need to control this particular use of artificial intelligence to the extent that, because we know what we put in is what generates an output. And therefore, we need to be able to control how we use these options, as it were. There are several possibilities that are important for us. First of all, containment of the news and news content. It is very important for us to know what kind of artificial intelligence was used to collect what news, and whether there are possibilities before release of such news. If we do not contain this, then we are likely to be finding ourselves in cases where a proof has not been given and there has been sufficient circulation, which may mislead most of the Kenyans. The other issue is the control of associated onslaughts or the areas where we have embraced artificial intelligence. We need a verification mechanism, Honourable Speaker, whereby we will be able to know exactly how does the use of this technology lead to generation of information that probably can call as credible, reliable, and verifiable. And if the information is not verifiable, Honourable Speaker, we need to have mechanisms that can help us to shun this, to get this information from circulation. When we focus on job losses, Honourable Speaker, artificial intelligence is likely to lead to job losses, yes. We are a country in transition which requires to employ most of our people, and also it can be a possibility that our people can be employed in this particular area. So even as we look at advancement and the use of this particular technology, then we may be looking at how can we use it in tandem with promotion of productivity within the productive sector so that we are also creating more jobs, such that we win off those tasks that are difficult, tasks that are risky, tasks that require a lot more of machinery use, and then we place human beings to those tasks that require a lot of intensive scrutiny. Honourable Speaker, public awareness is very important. In our country, the awareness levels are high, but unfortunately, most of the information that circulates around is not necessarily very credible, not verifiable, and not reliable. How can we use this artificial intelligence to ensure that we develop sufficient understanding to our people on how to even cross-check information that they are being given? Honourable Speaker, it is important for us to foster transparency and the responsible use of AI. It is possible for us to do that through a very elaborate policy framework. And that is why I believe this particular bill, this particular motion, has come at the right time. We need to distinguish which sectors can embrace artificial intelligence. We need to distinguish which functions within those sectors that can embrace artificial intelligence and to what extent. And we need a mechanism of measuring out to try and exactly establish what level of use are we talking about. So, Honourable Speaker, there is the issue of ethical standards and ethics of information that is transmitted. That needs also to be focused on and can only be achieved through a policy guideline. Honourable Speaker, with those very few remarks, I wish to support this particular motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The Honourable Cecilia Getit, member for Turkana County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this good motion by my colleague, Honorable Keitany. Madam Speaker, AI, looking at its definition, is that technology of enabling computers perform functions that humans have been performing, including making decisions, computers having ability to see, understand, and translate spoken and written language, analyze data, and all that. Therefore, Madam Speaker, there are ethical concerns that come along with this. If we don't regulate that space, how safe are we in terms of our privacy, in terms of safety of our data, the security, and the potential impact on human autonomy, necessitating responsible governance and regulation, Madam Speaker? The AI has both advantages and disadvantages, Madam Speaker. And of course, in terms of regulating, we need to focus on the disadvantages so that this space is regulated to give us more benefits than disadvantages, Madam Speaker. In Kenya now, our young people are looking for jobs. If AI is embraced fully, 100%, that means our people will lose jobs. And those that want jobs will now have no future of getting jobs, Madam Speaker. So there is need to have a regulation where there is some percentage of AI being embraced, not 100%, to make our people lose jobs, Madam Speaker. Then there is the security risk, Madam Speaker, the cyber attacks. The AI depends on data mostly, the research data. If we don't regulate the space, our data can be at risk. So I think as a country, before embracing this, we really need to have very serious regulations, Madam Speaker, that will address ethical concerns like biases and discrimination, security risks, and then high development and implementation costs, Madam Speaker. This needs very massive and serious investment in terms of infrastructure, research, and all that. So it's not something we can just rush into without really having very serious regulations, Madam Speaker. And then there is the risk of a reliance of the humans now on these computer things, Madam Speaker. I think AI will need to be regulated. If our students will be asked any question in school and then they just access the AI information and data, then it will kill the ability of our students reasoning and really expounding on things, testing their intelligence. They will now be depending on this AI thing. So the AI information needs to be regulated so that there is some amount of information that you can get in these cyber systems and not everything, Madam Speaker. Because if we just let everything run in the AI perspective, I think as a country, we will have the advantages, but the disadvantages will be enormous, Madam Speaker. So I want to thank Honorable colleague who brought this motion. There is need to regulate this before embracing it. There is need to really dig deeper into its advantages, disadvantages, and then now regulate the disadvantages so that the impact will be positive and not negative, Madam Speaker. Thank you. I submit.
The Honorable Joseph Dena, nominated member. Please trace the Honorable Dena from my right.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand to support my colleague. I call her Maria Antoinette. First, we have, it is good that we cannot stop an idea whose time has come. AI is here now and it has come and it will not stop. That is the idea when mobile phones came, and now we have seen the revolutionaries of the mobile phones. But I will want to state on three things, three aspects of it. First is education. The other day, I think Friday, we were with the Minister of Information in Mazeras for the innovation. And we could be able to see they're already using AI. By 7 o'clock, by 8 o'clock, somebody had made 10,000. So it is about wealth creation. Number two, it's AI now is on health. They can be able to tell your blood sample, everything about you in terms of using the AI, even without your knowledge. That I tend to support the regulation into this. The advantages are there, the time has come, but yet at the same time, we have to put the regulation to guide us. Third thing, it's on security, which is key. We can see now in Iran what is happening in Iran and Israel. Somebody you cannot see, somebody you cannot hear, somebody you cannot even have face. There is no plane. And now everybody is going into drone. Security is a key component in any country. If we cannot be able to regularize the AI policy, then we are going to fall into a big problem. So we come to agriculture. Right now, there are drones that are feeding and able to tell the amount of fertilizer, the amount of acreage production, which will determine the food production of a country. And if we look into these things, they are key components of the future of a country. So I tend to support this motion because it is a key component in our life in which we live in. As much as it's good, that we have to be able to create a framework that we can be able to guide the AI in this country. So, Madam Speaker, I tend to support the motion, and I thank my colleague for bringing it up. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Joseph Cherorot, member for Kipkelion East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this time in order to support the motion brought by the Member of Parliament from Aldai, Marianne. Madam Speaker, this motion actually has, I can say that it has even delayed because of whatever is going on around our country. I want to say that the other day we were talking of analog and even digital. When the computer came in space, Madam Speaker, we know what has gone through and a lot have taken place in this country. I want to say that the regulating or giving out the framework on how to regulate the use of AI, Madam Speaker, is going actually to help us a lot. I know this is an area which has been embraced by our Kenyan youth and mostly all Kenyans. In our homes, Madam Speaker, even in our bedrooms, we have mobile phones. And in most cases, you find out that even some of our youth, or most of them, are aware of what is going on around the world. So having regulating it, Madam Speaker, will help us actually to guide, even though I know the world actually has become a global village, Madam Speaker. And what is going on, we've seen about content creation and a lot of things, which means that AI has taken a transformative shift in this country. Madam Speaker, if we want actually even our ministries to proceed and even to progress, AI actually is the only way that can be embraced. If you see, Madam Speaker, like in health, Madam Speaker, the other day we had to change. We had to shift to SHA from NHIF because NHIF was using actually the analog way. And in the SHA, Madam Speaker, it is digitalized, which means in our ministry, like Ministry of Health, even KRA, using AI can help us even to develop economically, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to say that if we want to also to prosper in our businesses, AI is the only way. Madam Speaker, you find yourself, you are seated in the house, and you do some orders, and within a short time, you do deliveries are dropped in your house just because of AI. So I want to mention that as a person, I'm supporting what actually the Member of Parliament, Honorable Marianne, has brought about this regulation of AI. If we want also to, like what we have mentioned, Madam Speaker, especially in terms of agriculture, there are a lot of things that you cannot use just the common sense that you have, but you have to apply also AI. And also in the cyber security, Madam Speaker, it also helps a lot. So if we can, if whatever is going on around the world, Madam Speaker, like what a colleague has mentioned, the war that is going on now in the Middle East and several other areas, the security, in terms of security, the warfare that is around, like between Israel and Iran, what is going on now is because of the AI, the drones and all that. So, Madam Speaker, I support the motion. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Patrick Ntwiga, member for Chuka Igamba Ng'ombe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, from the onset, I stand to support this Ebola business And I would wish to say the following one, Madam Speaker. When we discuss AI, we are not discussing Kenya as secluded from the rest of the world. So if we continue saying as a country that we want to avoid AI to protect the jobs of our children, we need to know that it's not us who will use AI. AI will be used by the same children. And the rest of the world won't prevent the rest of the world from evolving in AI because Kenya is not prepared. So our lack of preparedness does not tell what the world will do. So, Madam Chair, we really need a regulation because we have a young generation. I like what one of our colleagues from the Ugandan parliament said, that being born in Kenya, it's like being in Form 6 in Uganda. We have a generation that is so quick to learn. Yesterday, I looked at and I wish first to say sorry for what happened yesterday about that man who was shot. And we not even tell you who, because within that minute, they had created so many faces. They will say, is this one who has been shot? There's this one who has been shot. He is from here. So we had like 10 or 20 people, images that had already been created online on who had been shot, which can really bring chaos and confusion. About the policeman who did what, we had almost a face immediately, after 2 minutes, another one. So we really need a regulation because you can't control that. We can't say now that will prevent young people from using AI or artificial intelligence because it's the next frontier of development in the world. So we can't close ourselves inside the country and be afraid of what is coming because AI is here with us. And the most important thing as a country is to be prepared. And the best preparedness for this house, as a house that makes laws, is to have a law that will guide artificial intelligence and its use in the country. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Kainan, member for
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Eldas.
I don't know why I left my card.
Yeah, it's unusual.
I hardly forget.
And you know that because of the length of time you have been in this house, we have to indulge you.
So
Please proceed.
It's a very, very rare thing. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this motion is timely. I want to thank the Honorable Marianne Keitany. You know, she's a distinguished member of this house. People know her as a first-timer.
I don't know whether you'll...
Yes, I'm saying people know her
bent over because of your height, I think.
People know her as a first-timer, but she's an all-round, efficient, highly mobilized, former chief of staff. And I'm sure the people of Aldai will not regret in having her as a member of parliament. But that does not mean I have in any way trying to influence how the people of Aldai are likely to think of her and behave. Having said this motion is timely. And it's one of the things that we must think out of the box as a country. Madam Speaker, Kenya is a very responsible member of the global village. Let me call the global village. And equally, Kenya is a very resourceful, committed member of the African continent. And Madam Speaker, Kenya is a country of very diverse population. One of the things that we must pride in, recently we were voted as the best in human resource capital by the UN. Madam Speaker, that tag is so important, not only to our diaspora community, but it takes our education system to another level. Madam Speaker, this is why, notwithstanding the different provisions in the current progressive constitution, we must also think out of the box. How do we think out of the box? The right to privacy, the right to associate with whoever you want, the right of your neighbor, the right to you as an individual is all enshrined in the Constitution. Madam Speaker, John McCarthy, who is considered as the father of AI, participated in something called the Dartmouth workshop in 1956. You can imagine where the world was at that particular time. And what he thought of in that particular conference is what is now making everybody sleepless. Madam Speaker, as a country, can see there is a serious change of guard. I like the way it's organized. It's really organized. I'm sure that is one thing that other institutions should also emulate. Well structured. Madam Speaker, those who invented the use of computers were not competing with Almighty. Almighty God has created the human beings, the animal beings, and the angels. In my religion, the human being has been given two distinctive abilities. The right to think, that is why God says, God gives you an opportunity to discern what is good and what is right. And you as an individual, you are in a position to either go astray and follow the wrong or follow the right. And one of the things that mankind has done is to be innovative enough, to be creative enough, and use computer. Madam Speaker, what this bill, and I get this, what this motion attempts to do is to, first of all, to acknowledge that we are in the era of AI. This is the first thing. The second thing that this motion attempts to acknowledge is that there is need to have a friendly, institutional-driven framework that will allow the user of the AI not to infringe on the rights of others. And this is why all of us are believers in our Constitution. We accept that we have a Constitution. And that is our supreme law in the Republic of Kenya. Within that Constitution, people are allowed the right to belong to the religion of your choice, the right to associate with whoever you want, as long as you don't infringe the rights of the other person. So what this motion is trying to do is, first of all, to create public awareness. Are Kenyans aware of the AI presence in their midst? Are Kenyans aware of the use, both the advantages and the disadvantages of AI? Mr. Speaker, in the current modern day Kenya, Mr. Speaker, the use of AI has greatly, the unregulated use, let me say this, of AI has greatly caused public disturbances, Mr. Speaker, serious security challenges, and Mr. Speaker, to some extent, an infringement on our sovereign rights as a citizen and as a country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, while we accept that AI must foster an efficient, effective use of computers instead of manual application by mind, we must also be prepared as a country that certain shortcuts in the use of AI and what we have seen recently can greatly endanger the lives and properties of the people of Kenya. And Mr. Speaker, therefore, the different types of AIs, one can be reactive, one can use a limited memory of the computer, another one can also apply the theory of mind and play with the mindset of different people.
And Mr. Speaker, you can also use something called the self-awareness.
That's why you see different images. Some will not even understand. People of my age will not understand. But the youngsters understand and they have their own way of doing things. Mr. Speaker, it's because of this that we must be prepared as a country, as a citizen, Mr. Speaker, to use AI efficiently, reduce operational costs, use it to interpret data, but we must also be prepared that this use, first of all, is going to cause serious loss of jobs. It's also going to contribute to the violation of individual rights, privacy. And you have seen it all being applied. Look at the headlines. Just open your social media accounts and you see the kind of thing that goes on. to the extent that some of the media, the youngsters, also use their social media accounts actually to manipulate certain realities to suit certain circumstances which may not be in the national interest, which may not be even in their long-term interest, Mr. Speaker. There is also an abuse of algorithm in the application of this. You can see certain shortcuts are taken, Mr. Speaker. It's also very difficult because you can see countries that have plunged in civil war, Mr. Speaker, or some of the events, global events that are happening right now. If you follow the social media accounts, like the world is coming to an end. We are almost on the verge of a third world war. That Kenya is beginning to end, and there is going to be a civil war, and we don't have the institutions. So what this motion, and I hope my good friend Mary will take this to the next level and have, I know you'll be criticized, but those will be positive criticisms. You will be remembered later on. That's why I said we must think out of the box. Please translate this, take this to the next level, have it as a bill that allow the public to participate, and ultimately we'll come up with a bill that meets the test of time, a bill that meets the sovereign interest of the people of Kenya, a bill that will protect the rights of any individual, and a bill that will ultimately contribute to the development of this great republic. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support this, very progressive. Please don't get tired. Go on, bring the bill as soon as possible. I support.
The MP for Taita Taveta, followed by the Honorable Geoffrey Odanga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for also giving me a chance to contribute briefly on this motion. And I want to begin by congratulating my colleague, Marianne, for bringing this motion on matters artificial intelligence. And Mr. Speaker, from the onset, I want to say that the world is revolving and it continues to evolve. And truly, AI is an idea that time has come, and there's nothing we can do about it. We have to embrace it. And Mr. Speaker, it has its own benefits and challenges. And already it is in practice. So, Mr. Speaker, the only way that we can enjoy or benefit from AI is to regulate it. We have to control so that we benefit from it. And Mr. Speaker, I want to say that a lot is being done by AI, like so many